I am writing this from the front desk of my job, and I need someone to read this and tell me what to do. I cannot call the police because I have no logical explanation for what happened, and I cannot call my supervisor because I am terrified he might be involved. I am completely trapped in this building for the next 6 hours, and I am watching the glass doors, waiting for something to come inside. I work as a security guard in a very expensive residential tower. I took the job a few months ago after a long period of unemployment. The pay is good, and the environment is highly controlled. The building caters to very wealthy people who demand absolute privacy and quiet. The lobby is massive, covered in cold, polished marble, with floor-to-ceiling windows that look out onto the empty street. There are no visitors allowed without prior authorization, and the residents rarely interact with the staff. I work the graveyard shift, which means my hours are from 11 at night until 7 in the morning. For the first few weeks, the job was just incredibly boring. The building gets completely silent after midnight. The only sounds are the constant hum of the air conditioning system and the faint ticking of the analog clock on the wall behind the main reception desk. My responsibilities are very simple. I monitor the security cameras on the computer screens, I log any maintenance issues, and I handle the late-night deliveries. The deliveries are where the problems started. Most nights, a few residents will order food very late. They use standard delivery applications, and the riders come to the front doors, hand me the bags, and I leave them on a designated table for the residents to come down and collect. The residents prefer it this way so they do not have to interact with the delivery drivers. Exactly 1 month ago, a new delivery started arriving. It happens every single night at exactly 3 in the morning. The automatic glass doors slide open, and a delivery man walks in. He always wears a thick, dark jacket and a heavy motorcycle helmet with a tinted visor pulled down over his face. I have never seen his eyes or his features. He walks straight to the marble counter and places a sealed cardboard box in front of me. The box is always taped shut with thick packaging tape. The first time it happened, I went through the standard protocol. I looked at the box, saw there was no printed receipt attached to it, and looked up at the delivery man. "Which apartment ordered this?" I asked him. The delivery man stood perfectly still for a second. His voice was muffled behind the heavy helmet. "Apartment 144, he said. He turned around and walked out of the sliding glass doors before I could type the number into my computer system. I looked at my screen. The residential tower I work in is very tall, but the layout is highly exclusive. There are only 2 apartments on every single floor. They are categorized by the floor number and a letter. For example, the 10th floor has apartment 10A and apartment 10B. There is no apartment 144. It is a number that simply does not exist in the architecture of the building. I assumed it was a typing error on the delivery application, or maybe the driver had come to the wrong building entirely. I could not leave my post at the front desk to chase him down the street, so I did what I was trained to do with abandoned or erroneous items. I took the cardboard box into the small back office located just behind the reception desk. The back office is a cramped room where the security staff keeps our personal bags, an old coffee machine, and a spare desk covered in old building blueprints. I left the box on the spare desk, assuming the person who ordered it would eventually call the front desk to complain about missing food, and I could sort it out then. No one ever called. When my shift ended at 7 in the morning guard arrived to relieve me. I told him about the delivery from the guy in the motorcycle helmet and the fake apartment number. I pointed to the back office and told him the box was sitting on the spare desk. The morning guard just nodded, poured himself a cup of coffee, and told me he would handle it. When I came back to work the next night at 11, I asked the morning guard what had happened to the box. He shrugged his shoulders while packing his bag to go home. He told me that when he went into the back office around 9 in the morning to get his lunch, the box was gone. He assumed one of the building cleaners or the daytime maintenance contractors had seen it sitting there and decided to take it for themselves. I thought that was slightly weird, but I did not care enough to press the issue. It was not my problem anymore. But then the exact same thing happened the next night. At 3 in the morning, the automatic doors opened. The same delivery man in the heavy helmet walked in, placed a sealed cardboard box on the marble counter, said apartment 144, and walked out. I took the box into the back office and left it on the spare desk. The next night, I asked the morning guard about it again. He gave me the exact same answer. He said the box was sitting there when he started his shift, but by the middle of the morning rush, when contractors and residents were moving through the lobby, it just vanished. Someone was taking it, but he never saw who. We checked the security cameras for the back office. The building uses a very old, outdated camera system. The camera in the back office is mounted in the corner, but the angle is poor. There is a large filing cabinet that completely blocks the view of the spare desk. We could see people walking into the room to get coffee or grab their coats, but we could not see who was actually picking up the box from the desk. This routine continued every single night for weeks. It became a strange, annoying habit. At 3 in the morning, the box would arrive. I would put it in the back office. By the time I came back the next night, the morning shift would tell me it had disappeared again. We joked about it a few times, wondering if a very hungry cleaner was enjoying free meals every day, but eventually, we just stopped talking about it. It became a normal part of the graveyard shift. I got used to the quiet. I got used to the marble lobby. I got used to the helmeted man and his non-existent apartment number. I never should have gotten used to it. Last night, the routine broke. I was sitting at the front desk, drinking a cup of stale coffee to keep myself awake. I watched the digital clock on my computer monitor turn to 3 in the morning. I waited for the glass doors to open. At exactly 3:15, the doors slid apart. The delivery man walked in. Immediately, I noticed something was different. He was walking much faster than usual. His posture was rigid, and he seemed hurried, almost anxious. He walked up to the marble counter and placed the delivery down. It was not the usual cardboard box. This box was much heavier. It landed on the marble counter with a solid, dense thud. The material was different. It looked like thick, reinforced cardboard, almost resembling thin wood. The entire box was heavily wrapped in layer after layer of thick, black industrial tape. There were no logos, no markings, and no receipts. The delivery man did not stop to look at me. He just muttered "Apartment 144" through his helmet and practically ran back out the sliding doors into the dark street. I stood up from my chair and looked at the black box resting on the counter. I reached out and placed my hands on the sides of the box to carry it to the back office. As soon as my skin touched the material, I pulled my hands back. The box was warm, and it felt like the ambient, radiating heat of a living body. I stood there staring at it. I leaned my head closer to the thick tape. I could hear a sound coming from inside the box. It was incredibly faint, but the lobby was completely silent, allowing in.